Oh, gosh.
Same thing. All right, well, we are watching for some storms overnight tonight. I think through the evening we'll be okay. We have some rain around, but nothing severe. It's going to be overnight, really well after midnight, that we have to watch for some heavy rain, and that really is our primary concern. Out to our west, a concern with a new tornado watch box that's been issued, and we have seen a couple of warnings kind of along the leading edge of a front that really is not going to move in until early tomorrow morning. Out ahead of it, we'll be watching for some heavy rainfall. Thus far, nothing particularly heavy. You've had some isolated rounds of some maybe brief downpours. Most of the rain that we have seen across the area so far this afternoon and now into the early evening, light to moderate. It'll be late night, well after midnight, that we see most of those storms developing. And one thing that we'll be watching as well, anything that tries to fire up out ahead of the main line, because as far as the kind of leading edge of the storms go, we can time that out pretty well. And that's not going to be here until probably after 4 a.m. It'll be anything out ahead of that that kind of fires up that we'll have to have a better eye on. So as far as anything during these next several hours go, fairly tranquil. Again, we'll have some rainfall, certainly. And then we ought to see that activity kind of intensify well after midnight, more toward 2 a.m., continuing through the early morning hours of Tuesday. May still have some storms around the morning drive, but a lot of the models, they're differing in the exact timing of when the rain moves out. They all do have the storms long gone before lunchtime. It's just kind of a question as to how long after our morning commute will some of those storms hang around. So the main concern would be the flooding for us during those early morning hours, with a few isolated strong to severe storms possible. Main threat would be an isolated tornado. Can't rule those out, and also some strong winds. So what I would do tonight, park on higher ground if you can, and just have a way to get those weather alerts, because again, this threat comes in during the night. Now, as I'd mentioned, far more of a primed environment for severe weather off to our west. A lot of the components to allowing those storms to be strong to severe is a little bit more west of us. As the line moves into southeast Louisiana, that kind of falls apart. However, we are under a slightly higher risk for street flooding that will continue into early tomorrow morning. As far as widespread rainfall totals go, it's kind of a line from about Hattiesburg down toward Houma, 3 to 5 inches of rainfall. As it looks like we start to tap into some deep tropical moisture that would help to provide for some potential flooding. So that is our main issue. Again, can't rule out the strong severe storm threat, but the main issue will be the rainfall, because we are actually tapping into leftover moisture from Tropical Storm Sarah. Sarah is no longer an issue, but this deep upper trough, this is something I was talking about last week, is pulling a lot of that tropical moisture our way. That is the fuel for these more efficient rainmakers. Now, thankfully, we'll start to get into the drier air pretty quickly early Tuesday morning, and then after that, dew points and the available moisture in the atmosphere will be dropping, and some very dry air as we continue through the rest of the week and this weekend. And with it, a big cool down is coming, actually kind of several surges of colder air. Today's high was still able to get up to 83 degrees. Now, when our climate data came out, did not have any measurable rainfall at Kenner. Obviously, that will change through the rest of this evening. Kind of overcast with some light rain. Looking along the riverfront from our View Orleans camera at 77 degrees right now. It is warm, it is muggy. This is kind of the fuel for these storms, as temperatures are in the 70s and dew points also in the 70s. It's even going to stay warm right behind kind of the initial front early tomorrow. We won't really get into the cooler air until later tomorrow evening and night. Pretty breezy, especially offshore. We do have coastal flooding concerns because of these stronger winds. Here is the upper energy, and notice it's just now starting to move out of Texas and into Kansas and Nebraska. This upper feature, this upper low, is continuing to pull toward the north and northeast. That is going to weaken the line as it starts to move our way, which is why I don't really believe we're going to see any kind of widespread severe weather. What we do have on the backside of this system, however, is several fronts that will be bringing down our temperatures. So we will start to get into the cooler air kind of late tomorrow night. Wednesday will be noticeably cooler at 70s. Then Thursday, Friday, high temperatures struggling into the low 60s, and mornings in the 40s and 50s. May likely see some 30s on the North Shore Friday and Saturday morning. Notice we do start gradually warming up toward early next week, and still the models are not in perfect agreement if we see another front before Thanksgiving.